Good morning, dear students. And once again, I welcome you to the social science class. Now, until last week, we were in the middle of our first chapter of geography, the Earth in the solar system. So let's run through a quick recap of what we've learned so far. The Sun, the 8 planets, the satellites, and some other celestial bodies known as asteroids and meteoroids comprise the solar system. We also call it the solar family with the Sun as its head. Now let's talk about the Sun. The Sun, as we all know, is the center of our solar system. It is rather huge, and it is made up of extremely hot gases. Now the Sun is the force which binds the solar system together, and all the planets, as we know, revolve around it. So it is the ultimate source of heat and light for the solar system. Now the Sun is our nearest star. As we all know, the Sun is actually a star, and it is our nearest star. However, it is far away from us. The Sun is almost 150 million kilometers away from us, and that is the reason we do not feel the Sun's extreme heat. We next talk about planets. Now students, as we know, there are 8 planets in the solar system. In the order of their distance from the Sun, they are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Now it is important for you to learn their names in the order of their distance from the Sun. So a very easy way to do that is to remember this mnemonics. My very efficient mother just served us noodles. So if you just remember this phrase and you pick up the first letter of every word, you will get the sequence of your planets. So my very efficient mother just served us noodles. That will help you to remember the names of all the planets. Now the planets move around the Sun in fixed paths, which are called orbits, and these orbits are elliptical in shape. Now when we say elliptical, it does not mean a complete round, but this, as you see in the animation in the figure, this is what an elliptical orbit looks like, an elongated orbit, not a perfect circle but elongated, or elliptical is the word used for the shape of the orbit of the planets. Now children, interestingly enough, Pluto was also once considered to be a planet, and for a long time the solar system was known to have 9 planets. Now even in some of the books that you will get later, or even in the PDF, in the ebook that I've sent you, you will see there is a mention of 9 planets. So that being an old edition, please make the changes there. We currently have 8 planets in the solar system. Now in 2006, a new planet was discovered which was larger in size than Pluto, and that is when Pluto was renamed as a dwarf planet. It was termed as a dwarf planet, so it is not considered among the 8 major planets of the solar system. So these are all dwarf planets. The word dwarf means small in size, right? So that is the reason we have 8 planets now. So please make the correction in your books as well. Now moving on children, let's talk about the Earth. The Earth, the most interesting So now let's talk about the Earth. The Earth, the planet that we all inhabit. The Earth is the 3rd nearest planet to the Sun. In size, among all the 8 planets, it is the 5th largest. Now the shape of the earth is called geoid. Now geoid means an earth-like shape. If you've also seen an orange, the shape of an orange could also be referred to as something like a geoid. Now what that means is it is slightly flattened at the poles. It is not an exact sphere. It's not a complete sphere. It is slightly flattened at the poles and has a slight bulge at the center or the equator. So that shape is referred to as a geoid shape. And the Earth, as we all know, is the only planet so far to have life-supporting conditions. Now, what are these life-supporting conditions? It is neither too hot, it is neither too cold, it has water and air, which are very essential for our survival, and it has life-supporting gases like oxygen. So, because of all these reasons, the Earth is a unique planet of the solar system. Now, from the outer space, as you all must have seen images, the Earth appears to be blue in color. And that is because 2/3 of the surface of the Earth is covered with water bodies, which are the oceans. And that is why Earth is also referred to as the blue planet. Now we will talk about the moon. Our Earth has only one satellite, and that is the moon. Now, before we talk more about moon, let's understand what a satellite is. Now, children, just the way that planets revolve around the sun, in the same way, satellite is a celestial body that moves around its planet. There are natural satellites and there are man-made satellites. So, as we all know, moon is the only natural satellite of the Earth. A man-made or a human-made satellite is an artificial satellite, an artificial body, which is designed by scientists. And it is designed for the purpose of gathering information about the universe or for communication and various other purposes. Examples of some Indian satellites that are in space are INSAT, IRS, EduSat. These are some of the satellites that were launched into space. Now also, children, if you look at the pages of your book, on page number 5, you will see a picture which will show you how a satellite enters the orbit. So a satellite is hauled into orbit through a rocket launch. So when it reaches outer space, the rocket dismantles from the satellite, it falls back to the Earth, and the satellite enters the orbit. So this is how a satellite settles in the orbit. Now, did you know that India's first ever satellite was the Aryabhatta, which was launched on 19th of April 1975. Now coming back to moon. So moon, the Earth satellite, its diameter is only about 1/4 that of the Earth. Now it appears big as it is the nearest celestial body to the Earth. So the closest celestial body that we have is the moon. It is only about 3,84,400 kilometers away. And I say only because, relatively, considering the position of the bodies in the space, of the celestial bodies in the space, so that is not a very huge distance. Now if you compare that to the distance of the Earth and the Sun, it is almost 150 million kilometers away. So if you compare to that, the distance between the Earth and the moon is relatively much lesser. Now the moon completes one revolution around the Earth in about 27 days. So that is the reason that we get to see a full moon only about once a month. Another very interesting fact about the moon is that it also takes exactly the same time to complete one rotation on its axis. Now, just like the Earth, I'm sure you must have studied in the previous classes that the Earth has two movements, rotation and revolution. Rotation is when the Earth is spinning on its axis. and revolution is one complete round that the earth takes around the sun. Now, as we all know, to complete one rotation, the earth takes 24 hours or one complete day. To complete a revolution, the earth takes about 365 and 1 by 4 days, which we call a year. Now compare this to the movements of the moon. The earth takes the same time to complete one rotation and the same time to complete one revolution. So it is completing one full circle on its axis in 27 days, and it is also completing one round around the earth in 27 days. And that is the reason that we always only see one side of the moon from the earth's surface. Now the next question that comes to our mind is that since the moon is so close to the earth, is life possible on moon? Well, I'm afraid no, because the moon does not have conditions favorable for life, because there is neither water nor air. So it is difficult for life to be supported on the surface of moon. Now, have you ever wondered who were the first people to ever land on moon? Well, on July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong of the USA became the first human to step on the moon. As you can see, Neil Armstrong is the person on the extreme left of this photograph. Edwin Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins were the astronauts who accompanied him on the spacecraft Apollo 11. So Buzz Aldrin is towards the extreme right, and in the center you have Michael Collins. So Neil Armstrong was the first person of USA who stepped on the moon. Now I would like you to please find out whether anybody from India has landed on the moon. And with that, children, we come to an end of today's session. Now the question that you have for Swadhyay, I'm giving you only one question today because you will also have homework. So your Swadhyay question is, mention some characteristics of the moon. You can mention whatever has been told to you in this presentation, and you can also look up something on the net, and you can also add some of your points. And as part of homework, you will be sent a worksheet. It's a very simple worksheet. It only has objective type questions. So I would like all of you to complete that and send it to me. All right, so then bye for now. Thank you for watching.